Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Sandy. This is Untame Your Soul and Unleash Unlimited Abundance. Let me see if I can get the light better a little bit here. Sorry about that. Oh, here we go. Okay, much better. Um, Tonight, I'm talking about a very serious topic. But first of all, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Last weekend, a beautiful holiday with loved ones, friends and loved ones. Hi, Tyra. Hey, Golden Hawk. Um, And I think, oh, Angela, Tana, hi. Hi, you guys. Okay. So I know I had a pretty awesome holiday, but not without its hiccups. And I had a pretty big hiccup. So, hey, Stephanie, thanks for coming. And thank you, Tyra. Peace to you too. Oh, cool. Hi, Adrian. So, how many of you guys get holiday stress? Just give me a thumbs up, a smile emoji. Hi, Yvonne. Anything holiday stress, right? It happens to the best of us, no matter how calm and centered we think we are. Um, it happened to me, and I got triggered pretty badly this holiday. And before I get into my topic for tonight, which is creativity and how negative programming kind of squashes that in us, um, I want to tell you a little bit about my triggers and what I did to handle them because I know that it's tough to handle um, things that normally could have set you off. Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. Well, as we ascend, yes, Golden Hawk, as we ascend, we definitely do. But you're definitely special because you do help other people with theirs, um, and it's a beautiful thing that you do. So, I went to my parents' house for Christmas, and they just moved here from. Well, they had two homes, one in Florida and one in the mountains in central Pennsylvania. And they're old, they're both in their 80s, and it was time for them to move closer. So they moved close to me. I'm the youngest of three girls. We had a beautiful day, it was really fun. Um, I have two children, and those children, hey, Phyllis. My children, they got the presents from their grandparents, and everything was hunky dory. Went home the next day. I got a phone call from my mom, and she says, I have to get something off my chest. And I thought, uh-oh, and the walls immediately go up because that's programming. I was taught that, when she says that, I have wronged her. So I thought, what now? And she said, it really is bothering me that neither one of your kids, my kids, she said, your kids, neither one of your kids thanked us for their Christmas presents. And by this time, my dad's on the phone too. And I said, sure they did. And I know they did. I saw them. I heard them. And they, forgot. So it started going back into old patterning and all of this stuff with, it was kind of, you know, comical. Yeah, exactly. It was an old hook. It was comical because, hi, Thane. Um, they just started arguing with me. These 86 and 81-year-old people said, no, no, you didn't. No, they didn't. And I couldn't get a word in edgewise. I couldn't even speak because they were so adamantly attacking me because they were so sure that my kids didn't say thank you. So I ended up hanging up on them. And I had to because I wasn't going to engage in that. Um, Normally, in decades past, it would have ruined my day. It would have ruined my weekend. It would have just put this big shroud of darkness over me for however long I was going to mope about it and be angry about it. But you know what? I just kind of let it roll. And, my husband ended up calling them later and stopping my dad saying stuff about, oh, well, you know how she is. And he said, no, let me stop you right here. And, it turned out well. But old triggers can surface at the strangest of times when you have thought they were long, long gone. They can still come up because that's your programming. And I wanted to give you a little bit of an example of how our old programming can trigger. So, as most of you know, I have been a high school public English teacher for the last 20 years, including my student teaching. And I decided to resign at the end of this past school year because I was just done with the heaviness and the negativity of education and how it's destroying our children, especially our really brilliant, creative children. And I know all of you are just like that because you had the same educational experience. And sure, education has advanced, education has been peppered with technology, make it look shiny and sparkly, but underneath it all, it's still the same stuff. We're still taking let's start way back, when you're little. You're taught that you can do anything, and you have the brightest outlook and the most wonderful love of life. And there was a quote that children who were, I think, 4 or 5 years old were questioned, and they all had genius IQs, and they all had extreme levels of creativity and intellect, and off the charts. I mean, like 97% of those surveyed were off the chart phenomenal people. It was a longitudinal study, and they took those same people and they did the same test on them when they were 18 years old, after they had finished going through the school system. Less than 15% of those children were still considered genius level, intellectual, like intellectually gifted, creatively gifted. Less than 15% from 97% when they were 4 to 5 years old. I mean, that tells you so much right there. And when we're little, the world is our oyster. We can do whatever we want because it's okay for us to play and pretend and imagine and, sing when we want to and dance when we want to. And then something called school happens. And when we get to school, we're told, oh, well, no, you can't dance right now. You can't sing right now. You can't draw right now because now is for a different time, a different thing. It's not the time for that anymore. And slowly, piece by piece, they start stripping away our wonder, our creative genius. And they just kind of, slowly take it from us and pack it in a little box. And, maybe we can go back and open that box sometimes. Maybe if we're feeling especially creative one day, we can go back and take a look at what our true creative nature is. But that's not something that is taught to stay with us. We have to push our creativity and our I know and everything back because it doesn't fit into societal molds. And our education system was built for factory workers. It was to churn out factory workers. That's it. They wanted obedient people who could be in a certain confined situation for 8 hours a day, limited breaks, highly focused. And that's exactly what we've been churning out. And there's a lot of people who can think that they break that system, but they don't really, because their true essence, their true soul was squashed way back when they were little in kindergarten, first grade. And they don't have that. They don't have access to that anymore. They've buried it so deeply. We all have. Sometimes it takes something major to happen to us. Oh my goodness, I'm scrolling down the comments. Oh, hi, Kim. Thanks for joining. Olivia, hi. Um, Okay, good. I'm just trying to catch up on comments. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, I mean, we're taught that only certain things are okay. Um, let's start kids in sports programs when they're really, really little. Let's start kids training them up for the military, um, showing them that, this, excuse me, showing them that, this structured way, the societal way is the way that they should go. And it's indoctrinated um, as when we're so young. Um, most kids know what they want to be by third grade, but that's taken away from them because people expect certain roles. They expect, especially gender roles, expect women to be certain occupations and men to fill other occupations. And that has gotten a lot better now, a lot more inclusive, which is wonderful. But what school has taught you how to be you, how to get in touch with what you really are gifted with, and then do that and be that? That's the part that's been squelched in us. That's the part that people are saying, um, this is just not appropriate. You cannot survive in society, especially women. Women are saying, or women are taught, businesses, running things, being in charge, that's not for women. Money, that's women. No, that couldn't be more wrong. Um, there are a lot of people who are extremely unhappy. I mean, look at all those memes about Mondays and how many people hate Mondays. And look at all those memes about, oh, Friday's here. Oh, thank God for the weekend. And I have to do everything and be everything and love life in these short 48 hours that I have before I have to go back to misery. Because we were taught that that's what we were supposed to do. And it's become such a normal part of our societal living that we accept that. And we're not taught to embrace our true spirituality. Now, I know 2018 has been one hell of a year for a lot of people. And, you know, a funny thing happens when you're on this ascension process. Sometimes it comes slowly, gradually, like a little rivulet, a little stream. Other times it thwacks you in the head really hard, really fast, and says, "Wake up." Yeah, I got the thwack in the head part. Um, but there are, oh, yeah, I just saw your comment, Adrian. Yeah, no, certainly not math or science. No, women were not um, taught to excel in math or science whatsoever. Um, there's more of that now, um, but it's few and far between. And the math and science that's being taught in our public education system, it's limited. It's extremely limited. Um, but anyway, back to what I was saying before about um, our souls being crushed, basically, because society says we're not programming you to do that. We're programming you to be a good little citizen who goes and gets a job, pays your taxes, works when you're told to work, relaxes when you're told to relax. And how many of us can really truly relax? Because if you have a job and you're on vacation, how many of you really disconnect from that? How many of you really go from your head space into your heart space and really be present in that moment? I'm friends with tons of teachers, and I already saw people posting yesterday on Facebook about them that, you know, Christmas break was going too fast, or winter break, or whatever it's called wherever you are. It was going way too fast, and that they hadn't even had time to do anything yet. Like, doesn't this just seem ludicrous to you? Like, why can't we have our own profession, one that brings us fulfillment, one that brings us love and joy and happiness and excitement every day? You know, I know that I love getting up on Mondays now because Monday is just any other day of the week. Um, and yes. Oh, hey, Shamise. Good to see you. Yes, Golden Hawk. Yeah. Women, support your boss, support your man, support your kids, support, support, support. When are we ever in the driver's seat? Okay. And I know there's some guys listening here. So, you know, you're welcome to chime in too. But when historically women are not in charge, okay, and we're taught that. Um, you know, that all goes back to that first, you know, interaction where, oh, well, you know, you can't play with that. That's not a toy for girls. Or, you know, I remember my son is 14 now, and when he was 2, my husband built him a kitchen. It was really phenomenal. It was like a kitchen set. It had a refrigerator, a stove, everything. And I remember my dad saying, well, what the heck is that for? What does he need a kitchen for? He's a boy. I was like, you know, there's master chefs in the world. Um, and, you know, just like when my daughter was little, she played with dump trucks and all kinds of puzzle games, Legos, math stuff. She's brilliant in math. Both of my kids are. Um, and I'm, you know, I'm supporting their brilliance. Oh, exactly, Adrian. Back to, you know, the taking a vacation from work thing. She said, nor to mention when you go back to work, you end up having to work 3 times as hard to get things back in order. So it's that much more stressful. So why would you want to go on vacation in the first place? You know, no wonder people are, hey, Lizette. Um, yeah, Terry, yeah, stand by your man. Um, I lost my train of thought. Hang on. Um, there's a lot of reasons why um, women feel that they can't excel. And all of this ascension stuff now is shaking us up. And it's really making us start to feel um, out of control because we've never been taught to handle ourselves in a situation where we had to take control. You know, damsel in distress, right? Let somebody else come and help. Let's not try to, you know, handle this because it's too much for a girl to handle. All of those limiting beliefs are absolute crap and they need to go. And they have been programmed in our subconscious lineage, our ancestral lineage, and it is destroying us. And one way to help find yourself and access your true path is through getting your creativity back. And creativity doesn't have to be art. It doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be, you know, it can be anything really. I'm not going to talk about what it can't be. Let's talk about what it can be. What brings you joy? And that's a really, really hard question. Okay. I want to do a quick little exercise with you. I want you to think of one thing you really wish you could do. One thing. Something you've never done that you wish you could do. Just think of it. One thing. Got it? Now, I want you to tell me what your limiting beliefs are about that and your reason why you told yourself you couldn't do it. Because I know you did. You know, oh, well, I wish that I could do this, but I don't have time off of work, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have, you know, all of those thoughts start flooding. I know, I know. Yeah, you better start hopping on those emojis there because I know this is resonating with you. Um, this is our own limitations that we put on ourselves. You know, let me teach you something. You go from your head space, which is what I really wish I could do, to your heart space, what I'm gonna do. You know, and what it comes down to, Hey, Cher. She's my big sister. Love you. Um, okay. Oh, how cool. So some of you guys are sharing your I wish I coulds. You can. Who has that immediate instant gratification kind of thing going on? Because if you want something, I taught myself how to play the piano. My parents never got me um, piano lessons. I asked and asked and asked, and I never got them. So I taught myself how to play the piano. I don't read music all that well, but I do read some. But it's something I wanted, and now I play piano all the time. I love it. It's part of my peace. It's part of my joy. But it took me decades to learn how to do it. Um, oh, Dina. Okay, can I share? That's beautiful. I don't want to share without your permission. Um, but I mean, these self-limiting beliefs don't need to keep you from living your dream. I mean, there are a couple of you here who said you want to be writers. So, right. You know, um, there's, getting published is hard. Okay. Um, sometimes, sometimes, it is. Sometimes it's not. It's the people you know, it's the connections you have, it's the paths you take, and most importantly, it's shedding those limiting beliefs. Get rid of them. You absolutely can be published. If you want to write, you can self-publish and then get your name out there. Okay. Whatever kind of work that you want to do, you have it within you and you can do this. Um, access. Oh, okay. Dina, thank you. Thank you. Um, Dina was one of our ladies who decided who wants to be a writer. So what kind of things do you write, Dina? I'd love to know because I know quite a few publishers. Just saying. So you're always put where you need to be for a reason. Divine intervention, synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. We're always here in the right place at the right time. So when we access, let's get back to when we're little kids and our creativity is squelched. When we access that information and really tune in to who we are and what brings us joy, then we can really start to live our purpose. And then we really start to shed old beliefs and start to create those mindset shifts that need to happen. And that shifting is what brings you your best life. When you kind of climb out of those old beliefs. And it's not easy because you will, shed not only your old beliefs, but sometimes, people who don't match with your new perspective. And, it's like putting glasses on and seeing clearly for the first time. It's a beautiful thing. But the most beautiful part about it is that you don't resent anything. You can let people and things go with love and it doesn't upset you anymore. That's an amazing thing. And I know that there's some of you on here who know exactly what I'm talking about, who have experienced it. So what do you want to create? What do you want your life to be like? How do you want to live the rest of your life? In a 9 to 5, I hate Mondays, can't wait for my tiny little bit of time on the weekends. Or maybe, you have kids and you run them around everywhere. They're in sports, right? Okay. Or some of them are in musical programs or creative arts programs, which is wonderful. They should be. But being creative is not wrong. Wanting to do something with that creativity is not wrong. Maybe that's what you were called here to do. Open up your actual joy. Hi, Larry. How are you? Um, what do you love to do? What makes your heart sing? So that little thing I told you to think about before, that what have you always wanted to do? Bring it down into your heart space, and in your heart space, excuses don't exist anymore. You come up with a game plan. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is where I'm going to block out X number of minutes to do this. You don't need days. You don't need huge chunks of time. Um, it's easy. But I have something for you, and I'll mention it. Give you a little teaser. Um, I have something for you that is going to make this process so much easier. And I do a lot of work with, accessing your true nature and your true self. In my 20 years as an English teacher, I got a lot of kids through school. I taught high school English, got a lot to graduate. And I helped them do this, day in and day out. And I didn't even realize I was doing it until it was pointed out to me. And now I realize what I do. And it's giving people permission to access their true selves. And I do this by taking you on journeys, meditations, um, clearing out the gunk, aligning yourself with your chakras, and having everything flowing well. And I have a pretty incredible program. It's not quite ready to announce yet, so that's why I'm just kind of giving you a teaser. Okay, I'm seeing more comments. Oh, Dina, that's amazing. That's beautiful. And I bet you that brings you joy. She said, right now I write to others what I'm self-reflecting on, and some of it's poetic. And when she was younger, she wrote stories of witches, ghosts, mysteries. She has a unique imagination that helps her stay in her own little world. Isn't that wonderful? Like we create these own little worlds for ourselves because we're so frightened to be out in mainstream society, because deep, deep, deep within us, we know it's wrong. We know it's crushing us. We know it's something that is just not okay to be doing anymore. Um, so I I have this beautiful little, it's a short, kind of like a mini course, I guess you would call it, where I would take you through certain journeys and certain meditations to access your inner child and really reconnect and find your joy and find your true soul path. There are a lot of people that can incorporate different areas of creativity into this. Like if you're a writer, you can write. If you're a painter, you can paint. If you are a sculptor, you can sculpt. You don't need to have any particular talent. You don't need to have any particular degree from any particular institution to say that you are worthy enough or good enough to do something. You have it within you. And if it is your God-given talent, then that is something that you need to own. And it's not something that you just need to push back for another day. Um, you can help a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And when you figure out what it is that your soul is supposed to be doing, everything comes easy. Everything just starts flowing to you. You open the door to abundance and it starts flowing to you monetarily. The right people start coming into your life. The right opportunities start coming into your life. So as soon as you shift your mind from that I can't attitude to let my heart take over, and let my heart tell me exactly what I want to do, and I'm going to listen to it. And it's scary, but it is so worth it. And you're so worth it. So, hey, Marcia. Um, I guess we're taught to be in denial. about what we really want. And if we're not supported by anyone, or if we come from a family that has been taught the same thing over and over and over again, we're never going to break those chains. We're never going to break that pattern and become someone who is in charge of their own lives. Um, there's a lot of work to do, especially for the people who are really feeling this ascension process right now, and they know, you know something more is out there for you. You feel it deep in your bones, but you don't know where to go or what to do or how to even begin to decipher all this stuff to figure out what the heck is going on. I can help you. I have a lot of different ways to help you. It's a process. It's not going to be something you can do immediately. It's not an overnight thing. You have to be committed to working on you. Um, but the results are, oh, they're so phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Instead of, being that person who says, oh man, I wish that I could, or, you can be standing somewhere sculpting marble like butter. That was somebody's comment. Um, Maybe, you could find yourself in Italy next to a master and sculpt away, you know? Um, the only limitations you truly have are the ones that you put on yourself. And the ones that you put on yourself are the ones that, oh, hang on, I'll respond to that in a second. Hi, Elena. The ones that you have created yourself, that has the most meaning to you. And that'll have the most meaning to other people too. So you don't have to be hard on yourself that it doesn't match a certain standard, or you don't have a certain, um, I don't know, quality that the experts look for in something. You do you. You know, where are our Michelangelos in this generation? Where are our Donatellos? And I'm not talking about those turtles. Where are our master artists? Where are our Mozarts and our Beethovens? And we have some, there's some around, but there should be so many more. So many more. I mean, look at all of the art history and all of the beautiful sculptures and all of the beautiful carvings. And it really held significance. And writings was sacred. Dina, writings were sacred. So if that is something that calls to you, that's probably part of your sacred past, but it's your purpose. All of that stuff was slowly stripped away from us. And women, right now, we're stepping back into our power, and we can get all of that back. You just have to make that mindset shift, and you just have to tell yourself, enough, enough with the societal BS. I'm done. You are worth so much more than you can imagine. Well, you're priceless, and you can attract anything you want to attract. It takes willingness. It takes resonance. It takes mindset shifts. And it takes breaking it down to the core of this lifetime, starting to find out where your creativity lies. And you know what? Creativity can even be, we were talking about math before, science, mixing things, coming up with new inventive uses for different kinds of plants, for medicinal qualities. There are a lot of things that you can do with your talent. But as we go through school, our talent's taken away from us. Unless you are blessed to be in a family that supports you and pulls you back from, the edge of societal abyss and puts you into your path and where you're really supposed to go. And a lot of those people are, homeschool kids who were out of the public school system. It's threatening to the government systems because, people aren't letting themselves be controlled. I know that kind of sounds a little out there and woo woo, but it's in you. It's always been in you. Your creativity has always been there. So I really want you to think about what it is that you do that brings you absolute, utter, complete joy. Anything, being with animals, let's see, working with children, painting, singing, dancing, caring for another person. What brings you the deepest joy? That's what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know, I'm not sure, well, why don't you give me a private message and we can talk a little bit more about it, because I can help you get there. Sometimes we need a little bit of a kickstart to get into that right mindset shift and that right mindset. And it needs to be a mindset shift. And sometimes that can only be done by somebody else, because we are so deep in our programming that we cannot do it for ourselves. I've had so many people help me to get where I am today. Okay, Dina. Okay, she said, okay, when I said the only limit you have is yourself, she said someone just told her that, and it's mind-boggling that I would also say that. Not really. You're just in the right place at the right time. You're supposed to be. This is the message that the universe will tell you, over and over again. And you know what, Dina? If you don't listen to the message, it will come to you any way they can get it to come to you. You will read that phrase. You will hear other people say that phrase. You will see, signs or read stories or something that has that intention behind it, that the only one who's limiting yourself is you. They couldn't be more right. Okay. So, all of those little voices in your head that tells you you can't, you aren't, you won't, all of that, it doesn't need to exist in you anymore, because you can. And you have this beautiful, beautiful, innate, possibly lifetimes old, most likely lifetimes old, talent that you're withholding. I'll tell you something. And I told my kids this all the time. I'm getting chills. I told my students this, not just my kids, my students. There is someone out there, now, in this whole big, huge world of ours, that is waiting for what you have. They are waiting to hear from you. And you are the only one who has that message that person needs to hear. Because we're all connected. We're all on this earth to do the same thing. And we're all in different stages of our journeys. And it's not okay to pass judgment on someone who's not at the same stage of the journey that we are. When you're at a different stage and you see more and you know more and you feel more, it's your job to help. If that's what you're called to, help. Bring them up. Help them raise. Hi, Nairi. Yeah, somebody out there is waiting for the very gifts that you have. They're waiting for you. I told that to, I had a very, very, I don't even know what to call it. Everybody called this child in high school, they called him a nightmare. You didn't want him on your roster. He was a constant troublemaker. Just would be adamant to make your life miserable because he could. He is a genius, many times over. I mean, the most brilliant. Excuse me. I'm gonna grab some water. He is the most brilliant person I think I've ever met in person. And he failed all the time. Every single class, he would fail because he saw through the system. He didn't agree with that box that they wanted him to be in. I got to be a little bit more creative in my class as an English teacher. So I would do activities where we would write poetry that would become song, that would become raps. And he actually went, from my class, I became the favorite teacher. And that's not something I set out to be. I became the favorite teacher because I made that child see himself. That's all I did. I helped him see who he was. And he came back to me and he had recorded, like laid down this professional track and recorded this beautiful, I don't even know what to call it, like poetic melody. It was about school and about being pressured and about what the important things really were. And, don't stress out about, grades, because that's honestly not what it's about. And yeah, exactly, Golden Hawk. He's a bored genius. Absolutely bored. And a bored genius who was put down because he wasn't towing the line, because he wasn't giving people the respect they thought they deserved. But you know what? They were never respecting him. They never showed that kid respect, ever. So he brings me this, and a couple weeks later, he brings me another track. And pretty soon, he's coming to visit me because our class is long over, and, he's still in the school, and he's coming to talk to me in the mornings, and he finds me on lunch duty, and he, is talking to me about stuff because I'm the only person that saw him as a person, not as a belligerent student like everybody else did. And he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go here. And he ended up dropping out of school to go to some kind of a trade school to do something in construction, which is not a bad thing if that's what your calling is. But that wasn't his calling. But he did it because he was being pushed to do it. And I said, well, what about your songs? What about your music? Because he wanted to be, he put his stuff out on, I think it was Musically, and he had like hundreds of thousands of people listening to his stuff. Instantly. And he could be something huge. But his limiting beliefs told him he needed to be a construction worker. And that's when I said that there is something that you have inside of yourself that someone in this world is waiting for right now. How dare you keep it away? How dare you keep that locked up? Because that's who you are. So now we have the distinct pleasure of digging out from under all of that societal imposed crap. And it's difficult. But, that's why you find groups like this. That's why, oh, thank you, Dina. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you said that you're feeling that connection. Okay, that's what I want, is to help people, and that it really makes me feel good that that you can resonate. So, it's as we dig out, as we try to figure out what our next steps are, you find yourself in groups like this. You find yourself connecting with like-minded people and, shedding some of those limiting beliefs, people who don't, they don't resonate with you anymore. And you just let them go, and that's okay. Like I said before, let them go with love. You know what? You can do whatever you want. And if you are in a miserable job right now, set yourself up to get out of it. I did. I have so many teacher friends that are like, what? You're crazy. You left a teaching job that you had tenure in, that you had insurance, and you had this, and you had that, and you had this. Yeah, I did. And you know what? I am so much happier and healthier. I am less stressed. I would say I'm not stressed. Um, and I don't even need the insurance because that's a whole nother topic um, about government healthcare and the control that they have over our lives. Um, but you're the person who's in charge. You're in charge of you, and you're in charge of taking the first step to reach that beautiful inner child that is still in there, that wants to play, that wants to sing, that wants to write, that wants to dance. You are the only one who can make that choice. I'm happy, happy, happy to help you. And I have beautiful friends that can help you. Um, you're gonna go on a journey that you would never ever believe in your wildest dreams, and you're gonna have happiness like you would have never experienced before. That's why I call this group "Untame Your Soul." We've been tamed. We're like a lion in a circus. We've been tamed. We've been pushed into our little bitty boxes that we have to adhere to. Well, it's time to untame it. It's time to untame it and unleash unlimited abundance because it's yours and you deserve it and you need to own it. So, I'm going to check the comments a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find him. I lost touch after I quit. So I'm really trying to get back in touch with him to see if he still does his music. So, um, and I do have some people who can get me back connected to him. So I will have to update you guys on that. So, all right. If there's no other questions, then I feel like my message is out there now. What I intended to say is out there. Maybe a little bit longer than I intended, but nonetheless, it was, you know, an enlightening conversation, and I truly hope that that it resonated with you and that it gave you food for thought. And I invite any questions that you have after this. You can continue on. Um, Ask me questions on the message feed, ask me questions privately, what have you. So, hi, Debbie. Just wrapping up. Glad you came. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap up now and I'll put this on the page. I'll post it as soon as it's done rendering. And I will talk to you guys very soon. I have more activities and fun stuff for us to do. And I'll give you a little bit better of a sneak peek into my mini course. So, love and light to you all. And I'm an ex-teacher, so I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to write down, let's see, 10 things you want to do with your life. 10 things that you always told yourself you couldn't do. And we'll come back and we'll talk about that another time. Okay? Love and light.